Afternoon, dear colleagues. Here is a report on the topic Impact of mini-hydropower of the chemical composition of water and phytoplankton on the reservation of the Forest-Steppe of Ukraine. At the beginning and in the middle of the 20th century, small hydropower plants (MHPPs) were built on a large number of small and medium-sized rivers in Ukraine. In the 1930s to 1980s, there were estimated more than 1,500 of them. Now there are only 98 ones. The building of the reservoirs has caused radical changes in the ecological condition of rivers, due to the plans for significant expansion on hydraulic engineering on small rivers on the Forest-Steppe of Ukraine. It is extremely important to find out the nature of the impact of MHPP on hydrochemical and hydrobiological regimes. It appears extremely necessary to develop measures to minimize the harmful effect of HPPs for optimizing the state of the reservoir ecosystem. This study is relevant within the framework of the European Framework Directive (AFD). The study was conducted at 7 reservoirs located on Koropetske River, Koropetske reservoirs, Mytiai River, Zvenigorodsky and Lutashevsky reservoirs, Kherskity River, Yurpilsky and Valdashivsky reservoirs, and Rose River, Stablysky and Korsun-Shevchenkivsky reservoirs. Slide 2. The selection of material was carried out during expeditions in 2013-2020, in the warm period from April to September. Determination of the species and quantitative composition of Aglaya was carried out jointly with the staff of the Institute of the Hydrobiology of the National Academy of Science of Ukraine, according to standard methods. Ecological assessment of surface water quality was carried out using generally accepted methods. According to the criteria of pollution by components of the salt composition, water in the reservoir on average was determined as having an index is 2.0, which applies to class 2 of the category 2, good clean. According to the ecological and sanitary indices, the average value of the water quality category of reservoirs was determined as 3.66 4.0, which applies to the class 4 of the category 4, satisfactory slightly pollution. Considering the biogenic substances, there was detected a significant excess of conservation of nitrates and phosphates. The MPC was observed for the following incidences. In the reservoirs Koropetske, nitrate by 3.5 times, Stablysky nitrate by 5.0 times, and Korsun-Shevchenko nitrate by 20.0 times, and ammonium nitrogen by 1.4 times. All this indicates significant decay processes of significant industrial and domestic effluents. Excess MPCs for phosphates are also related to this. The worst situation is observed in Stablysky, phosphates by 10.6 times, and Korsun-Shevchenkivsky, phosphates by 10.2 times. Reservoirs. The high level by 3.4 to 8.6 times of phosphates were also detected in the rest of the reservoirs. Table 2. The above-mentioned hydrochemical environments play an important role in the formation of groups of aquatic organisms, primarily phytoplankton. The phytoplankton excessive developments, eutrophication, correlated with a significant excess of the MPC for biogenic substances, especially phosphates, was observed. On the other hand, an ejection of the amount of phosphates leads to inhibition of the activity of algae, especially diatoms. As shown above, the amount of phosphates depends on a number of reasons. Among the most important are the size of the reservoir, the density of sediments out on the bank, and the area of reservoirs along with the flow. The same factors are observed highly influencing the phytoplankton abundance. The amount of phosphates is not significant in the small Koropetsky reservoir, but the phyto predominates there. Slide 5. The quantitative ratio of different taxonomic groups of algae in general and Xanophytes in particular defects in the reservoirs of the Gneolithic river. There is observed another pattern. Thus, one of the studies reservoirs on the Gneolithic river, Звенигородское, one is located within the settlements, and Lutashevsky reservoirs is located in sparsely populated areas. In addition, the Lutashevsky reservoirs is upstream, and Звенигородское one is in the middle part. Having almost equal amounts of phosphates in the reservoirs, Звенигородские reservoirs has 372 plus minus 23,000 cell per cubic decimeter of cyanophytes, while Lutashevsky reservoirs show the minimum number of cyanophytes, and up to their total observed in the upper and middle parts. Slide 6. Similar results were obtained on Yerskity River. Irpilsky Reservoir is located in the upper reaches in sparsely populated areas. There is a minimal amount of biogenical substances and no cyanophytes. The Hodashevsky Reservoir is surrounded on two sides by settlements. Exceeding the MPC of phosphates was observed by 4 times. The cyanophytes were observed through the reservoirs. The number of diatoms was observed by 6 to 9 times lower comparing the previous release, size 7. The Stablivsky and Korsun-Shevchenko reservoirs are located in the densely populated lower part of the Rose River. As shown above, there was observed a significant exceedance of the MPC for biogenic substances in these reservoirs. This significantly affects the species composition and abundance of phytoplankton, the number of cyanophytes and diatoms shown on slide 8. The relation between the conversation of nitrates and phosphates and the amount of cyanophytes according to the result of correlation analysis is characterizes are close. R is 0.868. The observed reservoirs were classified as beta-mesotropic and beta-mesotropic. Is in terms of cell probability as mesotropic, predominant type. In terms of tropical fixing, correlation between the density of cyanophyte groups and the amount of biogenic substances in the studies reservoirs on slide 9. Conclusions. In the term of the content of basic chemicals, The water of the reservoirs of the Forest-Steppe MHPP meets the state's fishery standards (MPC) in most indices. A slight excess of the MPC for magnesium by 1.09 to 1.15 times was observed in Yurpinske and Korsun-Shevchenkivske reservoirs. According to the criteria of pollution by components of a salt composition, water in reservoirs, on average, was determined as having an index is 2.0, which applies to class 2 of category 2, good clean. A close relation has been figured out between the concentration of cyanobacteria and the amount of biogenic substances in the water, which depends on the territorial location of the reservoirs. The effect of cyanobacteria on certain groups of algae in the other aquatic organisms has been elucidated. Thanks for your attention.